So in the previous video, we talked about overhead expenses and calculating these so that we can get our total number for the year. And that's going to be broken down into every estimate that you do based on the amount of hours that you're going to be spending on that project. So now we can move on to the employees tab. And in the employees tab, we're going to input all the information about the employees that we may have. Now, as you can see, blue is what we're editing in this, red we don't touch. And when it comes to employees, it's really important that you listen to this, that employees that are based on an hourly wage, everything in this row for them should be based on that hourly wage. So there should be nothing in here if it's an hourly employee that is based on a yearly expense. For example, if you have a yearly benefits expense for that employee, it should be broken down into hourly. If you don't know that, which may be difficult to know if you only have that yearly expense for the benefits, or if you want to pay them a bonus at the end of the year and you have that bonus, you would input that as an overhead expense. And you would come over here into the business expenses and come down here into the bonus and benefits and input those numbers here and here. That's because these yearly amounts are treated just like an overhead expense, broken down into each project based on the amount of hours and trying to recoup that money back for every project. Whereas hourly expenses you're just paying hourly based on the amount of hours you're going to be on that job site. So let's input some employees here. Let's do a foreman. Let's do laborer 1, laborer 2, and an owner. And we're going to do this together. We're just going to do this very simply and do $25 for per hour for our foreman, 17 for our laborer 1, and 15 for our laborer 2. And we're going to come over here to salary for our owner and input $50,000. And we're not going to do anything else with anything else. Just doing this nice and simply so we can get these calculations going. That's all we're going to do for our employees. Again, you can input any overhead expenses, yearly things for our hourly employees in the overhead expense column. And from here, we can move on to the next thing, which is once you have your employees inputted, you can then, once you're ready to estimate a project, you can then go over to the labor costs and you can input the employees that are going to be on that given project. So if you have different crews, you're always going to have the same hourly employees on those crews. When it comes to salary employees, every salary employee that you have should be on every project. For example, if you have an owner, if you had an administrative person, you're going to click down and input them. And they're going to be on every project because you're trying to recoup that cost on every project. It doesn't matter if it's a foreman or whoever, that person is going to be on every project, even if you have 2 crews and that foreman is on only one of those crews. It's just because it's just the way it gets broken down. We're going to show you how that works based on the number that we inputted in the business operations and the total estimate amount. We're going to show you how that works later. But just follow this for now, that any salary employee that you have is going to be on every single estimate that you budget. Whereas hourly employees, you're going to input them for everything that they're on. So we're going to input our foreman here who's by hour, our laborer 1, and our laborer 2, because in this mock-up business, we only have 1 crew, and that includes the foreman, the laborer 1, and laborer 2. And those are hourly employees, so we're going to input them on this given project. That's how this labor cost tab works, and that's how we can continue on to our next video when we're talking about production rates.